Hey, what's up? It's Tyessa here, and Dr. Tucci. I am shooting this in my car because it is 11:19 at night. I just finished putting together my things, and it's been one hell of a process, for sure. I only did it for my Facebook account because that's the account that I've had the longest and also been the most active on. So I decided to just go with Facebook. Um, it's kind of weird how I transitioned my usage of Facebook. I started all the way back in 2009, and I think I was in 8th grade at the time. I think. Anyway, so at that point, a lot of what I did was make basic initial joining of Facebook posts. So, like Tracy brought up in class the one day, the whole Tyessa Brown is bored or is at home while the rents are out hunting. I used a lot of the acronyms, OMG, LOL, that I use those a lot. And I actually got really, really annoyed with myself for how much I posted. Like, the first year of using Facebook, it was, here and there I posted, and it wasn't really a big deal. And then it started getting into the second year and the third year, and I got so annoyed with myself looking through this post. I'm like, God, I was so freaking dramatic, and like, why did I post so often? And then I went through this process where I'm like, holy shit, I actually post that often now. This is how people must feel looking through their Facebook feed and seeing all my stuff. But I like to think it's a better quality now and a better content, and I'll definitely get to that in a second. But it made me question, like, how much I post now, and almost made me embarrassed. Like, I was so sick of myself that, like, I was thankful to go to chemistry lab, which I hate, for 3 hours to be able to come back with fresh eyes and not hate myself so much. It almost got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna skip to junior year. It's fine. But I really wanted to be able to see how I transitioned through the years. So I went literally from 2009 to 2016, well, 15. So yeah, that took a really long time. A lot of what I posted in the beginnings, I said, was kind of like normal every day, like letting people in on what I was doing at the time, who I was hanging out with, and that sort of thing. I did a lot of those notes that we also talked about in class, where it was like a get to know you thing, and you answered all of these questions and things like that. Those were really popular, and so I was always keeping up with what was popular. And I think that plays a lot into what I've posted on social media in the past years of my life that I've been using it. Yeah, so like 2010 was a rough year for me on Facebook, I guess. Like, I was in all these like Facebook fights with people, and it was always dramatic, and I like complained about my parents and just like stupid stuff like that. And I'm like, why? Like, nobody needs to know that. That's so relevant. And also, like, why are you fighting with people on Facebook? So that was a thing, for sure. And then 2011 was just kind of the same. 2012, I started using hashtags on Facebook. And although it was because they were popular at the time, it wasn't like, I think, the way people normally think of hashtags being used. Like, in a post, I think a lot of the time people are like, oh, hashtag sun, hashtag beach, hashtag sand, hashtag whatever. But whenever I use hashtags, and even now, it's always like an aside, like a comment on what I posted. And I can't even like think of an example now. And the only other way I use hashtags is when I'm like at a certain place. So when I'm posting stuff about Alma, I'm always like, hashtag plaid works, hashtag only one Alma, hashtag Alma College, yada yada yada. That's the only time I actually use the tags for a specific reason, and that it's not a comment. Let's see, what else? In 2012, I also started sharing stuff a lot. In the first couple of years on Facebook, it was always me posting my own content, or uploading pictures I had found on the internet or sharing them from other internet sources. So when I got my iPod Touch, iFunny, which is an app that every once in a while, a couple times a day actually, will post a series of funny pictures that people have voted on, and it's like, haha, you get your humor for the day. Sorry, I have hiccups. And so I got into that, and I noticed that I started sharing those funny things on Facebook. So I really started in 2012 sharing outside things with people that weren't about my personal life. And after that, I really started sharing stuff from other sources on Facebook. So those pages that people started creating, that sort of thing. But it was always funny things or Jesus things for a while, which isn't my thing anymore, but I feel as though I have to recognize because it was something that I was adamant on on social media. I tried to mix Facebook and social media together. Don't do that. Facial media. And it was just a thing I did. Eventually I moved away from that, which again is where I am now. And I've always thought of myself as not a curator, obviously, but I've really started sharing things more than I've started posting my own content, like posting things about my life or posting pictures of me. A lot of what I do anymore when I'm posting is sharing news sources, sharing politically charged posts, sharing, social justice issues. For instance, over the summer, I shared something about the Baltimore riots, and that actually got a lot of attention. And that's just an example of something that I did that really reached people. But it wasn't until actually early 2015 when I started sharing social justice and political things on Facebook from other sources. In the past, I never liked to discuss politics, and that's something that definitely showed in my Facebook posts. I post a lot of quotes. I'm a person who's obsessed with quotes and happy things, except for when I was battling kind of depression in sophomore year. Other than that, all my posts were always happy things. And I tried not to stir the waters. My main goal, I think, was always to entertain and to make people laugh. In the beginning, it wasn't about the likes. Now, since I've had Facebook for so long, I think sometimes when I post, I'm conscious about likes, to the point where I sometimes think about when the best time to post something is, because I'll get the most likes at that time, which is kind of sick in a way, but it's how I've learned to use Facebook. So going back to the social justice things, I think the reason I didn't start sharing those until the beginning of 2015 was because fall of 2014 was my first semester of college. And it was my chance to figure out who I was outside of my hometown, which is actually where I am now. It's kind of funny that I'm shooting this here. But yeah, so I was just figuring myself out, and I didn't really know what I believed at that time. And I think that's why after that first semester, I really found out who I was, what I believed, and then it's instantly, as soon as it tuned in 2015, I was sharing stuff like crazy about social justice issues. So police brutality, Black Lives Matter, whether we should have free college, that sort of thing, big issue stuff about body issues, stuff about abortion, stuff about LGBTQ plus communities, all of those kinds of things. Those were things that I decided that I found that mattered to me. And that's mostly what I post now, aside from the personal post of my own every once in a while. And that's how I've grown to use social media. Is it went from being a platform where as a 13-year-old girl, I was sharing, oh, LOL, I'm so bored kind of posts, to sharing stuff about Black Lives Matter, which is a huge issue. But I think that also goes to show my development as a person and not just the way that I've used social media. But I would definitely argue that social media has also shaped my development. So they go hand in hand with each other, really, is my changing and social media changing, working together to create what you're seeing now. So, in short, I apologize for how many pages my assignment is. Like I said, I literally went through 2009 through 2015, which in hindsight was probably not the best way to go about it. It took me hours, but that's fine. So yeah, that's how I've used the internet. In the future, I probably see myself using it in similar ways I do now, but once I have like a career and am teaching every day like I'm hoping to do, then I probably won't be on it as much, although I still foresee myself sharing more content from other producers of content than producing it myself. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I was sick of myself at the beginning, and now I'm just happy that I'm sharing things the way I am now, even if it's a lot and it's making me question whether I should cut down on the sharing. So thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.